Hey, greetings to the world. Greetings to the world. This is Cam, and I'm still here to talk to you about the Real Resilience Talk podcast. I'm coming to you live on my end, but it's a recording on your end. I'm coming to you from Virginia. I'm sitting at a park bench right now, and I just wanted to take a moment to, just reiterate a few things for any of the listeners out there who may need to hear it. Remember, these messages may not always just be for you, right? I hope they resonate with you. I hope they help you, but it might just be, like I've said before, something that you can use and put in your hip pocket, your cargo pocket, put in your toolbox to be able to use to help someone else, right? Because, like it or not, as human beings, we are all we got. And for any of us in uniform or have been in uniform or have been on any kind of team, right? This is not just a service issue. This is not just it's not even just an American issue. It's a world issue right now. We are having way too many deaths by suicide. We are having way too many substance abuse issues. We are having so much domestic violence right now and sexual assault and things like that. And, I just want to reiterate a few things. And I know for some out there, they hear that. And I used to be one, too. You hear that and you go, well, yeah, we can track things better now. Duh, we have more of these issues, right? Things, are more out in the open and we have certain agencies to be able to report things. That's fair. I got that. And for that reason, I anticipate that suicidal ideations, maybe even attempts, may go up in numbers. But one thing we can't deny, put all that aside, right? Put all the other issues aside. You cannot deny death. You can't deny it. Like it happened. There's somebody who died by suicide, and there is a human no longer with us in the flesh, right? We can't deny that, and those numbers are appalling right now. And we have got to do something to stay ahead of it as individuals, as brothers and sisters of the human race, right? We've got to do some things to remember that. I know this sounds cliche because it's true. But this too shall pass, whatever anyone is out there going through. And I just want to bring some knowledge that I got yesterday. I had the privilege to attend a conference yesterday with was a man named Dr. Rudd there from University of Memphis. A great human, a great warrior of trying to combat the stigma that's out there. Which, man, out the gate, dude, stigma, dude. Like, come on, man, for real. Like, we have, if there's anything to kill, it's stigma. We got to kill the stigma of making everyone think that it's, or people that feel like, oh, it's weak to go seek help, or you're soft, or, for lack of a better term, and I know it's real, so I'm going to say it because I keep this real, you're being a bitch, and I don't mean that in a gender form or in a way towards animals, okay? So don't try to cancel me, but you know what I mean, the context in which I'm saying it. You're weak, you're soft, you're nothing, you're being a bitch. Stop being a bitch, And there are times we need to push through things, right? There are times. But I did learn yesterday that the longer you suppress things, the worse things can potentially get. And I've talked about this. We do we do these color signals for stress, right? We have like green and yellow and orange and red. And green is when you're okay. And yellow is, let's say, you smack your hands, right? And it stings for a little bit and it goes away, right? So that's like a yellow stress. So for those of us, we get a little traffic, we stub our toe. Those are some yellow issues. You're running late for work. That's yellow, right? Orange is now like if I bang my hand up against a table and it's bruised and I need to probably rest it and I need to give it some ice and it's gonna need some kind of help to get a little bit better, right? And I probably shouldn't keep going and doing the things I was doing before, right? And this is a metaphor, of course, everyone. So those are those, like, not only having one night bad sleep, you're weeks on end, and then there's red. And red is like I broke my hand. And unless I want to walk around with involuntary gang signals with my hand for the rest of my life and it be deformed, I need to go see medical attention and I need to get help from, professional doctors in this care, right? So that's kind of the idea of the stress continuum when it comes to the colors. So, hey, we're in yellow a lot. We're in and out of yellow. Some people stay in yellow all day, depending on the situation, right? And everybody's green is different. Everybody's yellow is different. And the orange and the red is determined by the severity of the issue that you're going through and the duration of the time, right? So my point in laying that out, right, just so we all understand we're speaking the same language here. If you stay in the orange or in the red for too long, you your judgment gets impaired. Your decision-making ability gets impaired. Just as if you were on some type of substance, right? It can literally just change. You can look this up. This is science. Change the way people think. Like, so that's like a brain damage in a sense, right? It will change things in your brain and how you think about things. And we've all known somebody who's been through something that didn't cope with it or didn't, deal with it over the time, and they kind of suppressed it. And over time, their shit deals with them. And that's a metaphor I say a lot of times. So it's saying that one thing that Dr. Rudd had said was that, like, it takes courage. It takes courage to seek help, to ask for help, because, there's just so much stigma, right? But it's unnecessary. And what happens is people are afraid to look weak, or you're afraid to, let's be honest, address your issues. Because I'm gonna tell you that for me, for a long time, before I started getting help in certain ways, I was afraid to address certain issues because I kind of didn't want to address them, right? Because that takes, me looking at that man in the mirror. And there was some things that, even though I had things happen to me or whatever like that were out of my control, I didn't voluntarily seek for these things to happen to me. I had also, since then, probably done things that I'm not proud of. I was medicating myself with alcohol, substances, and chasing the wind with certain things. If you know what I mean by that, but you're chasing goals, you're chasing the next thing, the next thing. I'll be happy when, fill in the blank, whatever that may be, but you just never really are, right? And that's a whole nother episode right there, and I've probably touched on it before, but I just want to reiterate that it takes courage to ask for help, right? And one of the things that Dr. Rudd had pulled up on the oh man, it blew my mind. And I've heard of this before, but I actually got to see the person's name. But there was a jumper off of the Golden Gate Bridge, and they said, I think 30 people attempted, or it might be messing up the numbers or whatever, but since 1937, when the Golden Gate Bridge was established and made and built, people go there to have death by suicide, to kill themselves. And there was a person there, I'm going to read it real quick. He had jumped, and when he jumped, I'm going to read it to you. I got to pull it up because I don't have my notes with me, but I did take pictures of this particular slide. So this is the man. His name was Baldwin, right? And I want y'all to think about this. And this is where it ties into the this too shall pass, and that I say never choose a permanent solution for a temporary problem. And I don't judge you for that. You may be in that orange, in that red for so long that seems like a good idea. Okay, so I'm not judging you for this. I'm not downplaying you. I'm just trying to reemphasize the urgency that we should all have in trying to seek help and trying to get what we need to be our best selves. Okay, so he said on the bridge, Baldwin, this was the gentleman's name, Baldwin counted to 10 and stayed frozen. So he wanted to jump. So he counted to 10 and he stayed frozen. He counted to 10 again, and then he vaulted over. He said this, I still see my hands coming off the railing, he said. As he crossed the cord in flight, Baldwin recalls. This is what came through his mind, y'all. This is what came through his mind. This is a man who said, okay, this is it. I want to die, and I'm going to make sure this happens based on my actions, right? He wants to die by suicide. He said, I instantly realized that everything in my life that I thought was unfixable, was totally fixable, except for having just jumped, right? And that's an excerpt from an article by Ted, I want to say Frien. It's called Jumpers, but it was from the New Yorker in 2003. But this was a person, this gentleman named Baldwin, who had jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and felt like nothing was fixable. All these things in his life was just not fixable. So when I say to some people, don't try a permanent solution for a temporary problem, they're like, well, you don't even understand that all my life is a permanent problem right now, and these are the things. And you're right, I don't know. I'm not you. I don't know. And what's trauma to you is not trauma to me, or what is affecting you I haven't seen or been through. So I'm not taking anything away from or downplaying any of your experiences. But I am saying this, that here is a man who sat there and said, I want to die because of all the things in my life that I feel aren't fixable. And as soon as the individual jumped, right, he had the thought, it's all fixable except for this, except for the fact that everything is fixable, except for this fact that I had just jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, thankfully, he lived to survive, and he, lived to thrive and live another day. And we don't know how much time we have on this earth, but his was supposed to be up there based off his decisions, and he lived on. I bring that to the forefront, and I emphasize that so much today from what I learned from Dr. Rudd yesterday. And there was some other just awesome doctors and speakers and just amazing leaders, man. I will say this: people do care, right? People at the top do care. I'm being able to see that in a different lens. There's headquarters Marine Corps people. They really do care about this problem that we're having. So anybody out there who's like, nobody cares or anything like that, hey, I felt like that before. But I'm going to just tell you, please trust me, people do care. I care, right? But as much as I care or they care or we care, we're not mind readers, right? So we need everybody at their own levels to look out for each other. It's not, an awesome lady, Dr. Jagger, said yesterday that, she said the other day when I spoke to her, she said an awesome thing. She said, this is not going to be fixed by one clinician. This is not going to be fixed by one civilian. It's not going to be fixed by one leader, one general, one sergeant major, one staff sergeant, one gunny. I can keep going on the line. One person is not going to be able to fix this problem, right? It's not going to happen. But together, with the multitude of experiences and wisdom and insight and approaches, hopefully we can make it better, right? All together. But it's going to take everyone, and it takes you where you're at, wherever you're at, man. Like man, woman, sir, ma'am, whatever you are, right? Look, wherever you're at, you can make a difference with the ones you're with right now. You can make a difference with yourself. And maybe this fucking mess that you're going through that is so unbearable and you feel is so unfixable, maybe this mess is only upon you and with you right now so that you can use it as a message to help somebody else. I know that doesn't make sense right now if you're in the thick of it. It may not make sense right now. But listen, if we don't deal with our messes, if we don't deal with our shit, right? If we don't address it, if we try to suppress it, if we try to self-medicate it in unhealthy ways, our shit and our mess will deal with us. It's just, I've said it before. An example we all know from, it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. Will Smith smacked the shit out of Chris Rock, right? A hurt person hurt somebody, right? And Chris Rock is an awesome person too. And I think Will Smith is awesome too. And his biggest mistake of recent times was on Front Street on national television for all of us to see. And it was unprofessional, it was wrong, it was irresponsible, it was immature, it was wrong. And he has said that. And he messed up, right? But I think we can all agree, if you have a little bit of empathy and compassion, which is necessary, right? As a human being, you need to have that. If you don't, please go talk to somebody. Please, if you don't have compassion or empathy, please go talk to somebody please go talk to somebody, okay? But for anybody else and everyone else, and I'm pretty sure everybody listening right now, you understand what I'm saying. When Chris Rock wasn't who Will Smith was smacking that night, right? He did that. He hurt Chris Rock. He slapped him, right? And Chris Rock was a professional about it. Hilarious about it, and just he was be water my friend. He rolled with it. He kept moving forward, right? He did what Sam Cooke said, and he keep moving on. And he has his own yesterday too, in his own past, and he did not fucking deserve that, right? But I think we all can look at that example, and I'm not glorifying celebrities. I'm just saying an example we can all reference and we can all relate to, and we've all seen. A hurt person hurt somebody that night, and hurt people, right? And if you don't deal with your shit will deal with you. Right? So that's my point there. So before you or I go and metaphorically smack a Chris Rock, another good person in this world who has his own troubles and his own yesterday and his own past, before we go doing that or thinking that that's a good idea, or we go thinking like Mr. Baldwin did on that bridge that all these things are unfixable, and we take that decision, we make that permanent decision over temporary circumstances, like... seek that help, man. Reach out, dude, ma'am, whoever you are, please. Like, I don't care who you are, man. I don't care if I love you, if I hate you, if you love me or hate me. I don't want to see nobody die by suicide, man. I don't want to see it happen. Especially not to our service members. No, especially not to anybody. Let me say that. Not to anyone, right? But for where I'm at and what I do, like, for y'all out there, y'all Marines and sailors and soldiers and airmen and guardians and Coast Guardsmen and women, like, hey, man, we're here to serve. We're here to protect. We're here to support and defend the Constitution, our way of life. It may not be perfect. I think we can all look at our history and we can see certain things, right? We're not perfect in the United States of America. And I have friends from all over the world listening to this, and y'all probably like, yeah, y'all definitely ain't perfect. I got it, right? I got it. However, this is our way of life. And I love it, and I'll die for it, right? A lot of people are doom and gloom when we worry about the enemy, and we worry about, all these radical terrorist organizations and these other countries that we might go into war with and stuff like that. Well, look here, man, we're doing their job for them right now. If their job is to take us out, like, the number one killer of us right now is us. Like, we're literally killing ourselves, dying by suicide. Like, we are better than this, man. And I know because I've sat on the other end of it. I woke up the next morning where I almost committed suicide the night before. And I said, what the fuck did I just do, man? And I had that, like, I don't know, sober. For me, it was definitely sobering because I was getting sober too. But you have that moment of clarity, like, what the fuck did I just do? Like Mr. Baldwin did, right? Or like in one of the episodes here, we had a survivor of a suicide attempt who said after he ingested all the pills, he was like, what the fuck did I just do, right? And here's the thing. And there's even an episode on Headquarters Marine Corps Suicide Prevention Podcast where Dr. Owen speaks to a young man. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right now, but he's a warrior. He's an Army soldier, and the firing pin didn't do its job, and the primer didn't go off, or whatever the case was. Look, I'm not a weapon tech or anything like that, but the weapon was malfunctioned, right? And after that, he was like throwing up and vomiting, like, what the fuck did I just almost do, right? Like, it got to that point where he made that suicide attempt, and he pulled the trigger. It just didn't go off. Or Mr. Baldwin jumped off the bridge and he didn't die. And I attempted some things and I'm still here. I won't get into details. Or I prayed at night when I was going to bed, I hope I don't wake up, right? And somebody out there has too, and many of us have, right? Or, the young man Justin that was on the show with me, an awesome, amazing warrior. I love you, man. Proud of you, and I'm so thankful you're still here. But he ingested all the pills based off of something that occurred, and he immediately was like, fuck, what did I do? He didn't try to get kicked out. He wasn't trying to play a card. He wasn't trying to make anybody feel sorry for him or get any disability rating or any of that kind of stuff that goes along with the stereotypes, right? Look, man, the moment got the best of him, right? Because he was in that impaired state for such a long time. The moment got the best of me. The moment got the best of Mr. Baldwin, of the gentleman that was on the podcast I told you about. I think it's episode 2 on the Suicide Prevention Podcast by Headquarters Marine Corps, ran by Dr. T.J. Owens. Amazing man, amazing warrior. Thank you for what you do, sir. It takes all of us. But all these people, they went through these experiences, right? And the ones who live to tell about it are like, what did I just do, right? And they wish they hadn't done it, and they didn't do it again, and they have this life to live. And no, it's not a fucking perfect life. Like, the sky didn't split, and now everything's not all perfect, and everything that was bronze is not now platinum, and life is still life. Life is hard. It has the ebbs and flows of it, but we have to build our resilience. We have to build our resilience. We have to build our resilience to be able to endure and to cope with this. And look, if you're one that's thinking about an attempt, and you're one that's thinking about taking your own life, or you've made an attempt before, that does not mean that you're not resilient. That does not mean that. That's not what I'm implying. But what I'm saying is what Epictetus said a long, long time ago, fam. All of you. What ought one to say as each hardship comes? What ought one to say as each hardship comes? I was practicing for this. I was training for this. Right? So we have to do things. And I'm sitting out here at a bench right now, and it's lunchtime out here on this base that I'm on. And I'm seeing service members out here at chow time hitting baseballs, man. Like, they're just hitting baseballs. They dropped their blouse, which is a shirt for anybody who doesn't understand, but we call it a blouse, our uniform. They took off their blouses. They're out here in what we call boots and utes, which is the cami bottoms and the boots. And, they got their skivvy shirt, which is a t-shirt you wear underneath your uniform, but I'm trying to translate for anybody out there listening, right? So out here, just hitting balls at lunchtime, man, together. I see old man, sorry, that was triggering, not old, right? I see a seasoned man out here on his lunch break with these Marines, and there's some soldiers too out here hitting the ball with them. They just doing pop-ups, little drills. I see I'm looking across the way at a court where there's some gentlemen and ladies on a basketball court outdoors. It's Virginia. It's hot. It's the middle of the day. I'm looking in sight. I can see where a lot of the education stuff goes down with some of the schools. There's a university over here. I'm looking at people running, jogging. I'm looking at the park where I'm sitting at right now with my daughters, and they're playing at the park while I'm making this recording. Healthy outlets is what I'm getting at, y'all. Healthy outlets. These things that can hold us over, these things that we can tap into, these things where we can put our stress, our pain. I'm not saying that you just go hit baseballs and everything's going to be better. I'm not going to say that. But here, man, like, stop seeking perfection. Like, sometimes it's like, is this going to make anything worse? Nah. Okay, well, fuck it. I'll try it. It might be the baseball that helped these guys out today. It might be the basketball that helped those people out over today. It might be going to the park with my kid that helped me out today, right? And tomorrow might be a whole nother thing, right? And tomorrow might be get a good night's rest. And it might be eat right. And don't drink alcohol. And don't, if you're on medication, don't take more than you're supposed to, because you know how you're wired, and you know that you be slipping and you be taking a little extra half here and there. And hey, if you're like me, I know the deal, right? Those things aren't going to help us get better. These things will. And I'm not saying it only boils down to sports and education and things like that, but these are these healthy outlets, these things to tap into. We did the open mic out in Japan, where we read poetry, and I attempted to do comedy. It wasn't really good. Alberto, you're the man. I love you, brother. They just had Eliza Schlesinger out there, man. Eliza Schlesinger, oh my God, fucking boss of comics out there, and perform live and free out there in Iwakuni. I'm jelly. But no, I'm happy for y'all that y'all were able to see how it's supposed to be done, because y'all was going to my open mics like, this is comedy, this is bad. So y'all got to see a professional, right? You get to see Alberto do his thing. And but these healthy outlets, man. For some people, it's DJing, it's listening to music. My daughter this morning was journaling. I was journaling earlier, right? Just expressing things. It helps you digest. It helps you understand. Maybe not then in the moment, but it helps things process, right? I'm not saying that any of these things. I did yoga with Adrian the other day. Shout out Yoga with Adrian, putting out free content on YouTube. Anybody is like, oh, yoga, I don't know about that, I'm not flexible. Yeah, nobody is unless you do it, okay? You can't get strong off one workout. You can't get healthy off of one healthy meal, right? So you got a consistency, right? So people are flexible because they stretch, all right? They're not just blessed with it. Some people are blessed in some categories, but you're not just infinitely flexible. You try it. Try it out, man. Just try it out, dude. Try out yoga. Try out coming out here and hitting baseballs. Get some sunlight, man. Getting some good rest. Healthy outlets. And I'm not saying for a second, oh, that's a train. We on the East Coast now. We get trains out here. Yeah, I'm sure y'all hear it. Sorry for anybody listening in their car and I just blew out your speaker. You're welcome. Hopefully you have smart sound. If not, hey, you'll be all right. This too shall pass. But you got to have healthy outlets, man. Healthy outlets. Healthy vices, whatever you want to say. But you don't have to be addicted to bad things. Go volunteer. Go coach some youth. You know what I'm saying? Go out here and help out. I don't know if people just stand outside of fucking Walmart, hold doors for people. If it's not one of those like automatic doors. I don't know. Random acts of kindness. Just fucking try it. Just try some of these things. And I'm saying I'm at the point in my life where I'm trying all of these things. Like all of the time. Words of affirmation. The things I'm memorizing, like the what I want to say is each hardship comes. I was practicing for this. I was training for this. That shit comes and echoes in my brain, dude. When them hard times come. I don't know what the answer is for you. We are all as unique as our fingerprints. But I do know that if you don't like something, you change it. You can't expect a different result without switching up the variables and the behavior and things, right? You just can't. That's the definition of insanity. That's like when our dumbasses be looking in the fridge over and over again for food that ain't there, right? And we all do it, and I've done it, but we can't keep hanging out with the same people, feeding our brains the same shit, thinking of things the same way, doing the same things, drinking the same stuff, doing all the same things, and expect different results. Like, what do you think? Like, a cloud's going to come of happiness? It's just not going to happen. I've said this before, happiness cannot be pursued. It must ensue, right? I didn't say it. Viktor Frankl said it. But happiness cannot be pursued. It must ensue, all right? Everybody talking about I want to be happy, man. I'm with you. I do too, bro. Ma'am, I want to be happy too. We all do, right? But that's not something that's not, you can't pursue just happiness. You got to pursue other things that will, in turn, make you happy, will provide happiness. But let's be honest, man, every day is not a state of bliss, right? Like, the 50 Cent song, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. The sun wouldn't shine so bright if it wasn't for rain, right? With that 21 Questions, right? Really bad song. But in 2003, we thought it was awesome, all right? But my point here is, what I'm trying to convey, what I'm trying to stress is that you can't pursue it in and of itself, right? And pain has its place in life, and the yin and yang of things, and there's that balance, and I don't understand all of it, to be honest. I don't. I'm just rolling with it and trying to be water with it, you know what I'm saying? And I hope you are too, but we stay around. We live to fight another day, and maybe you're going through things just to be valid enough to share it with somebody else, right? Just to be able to share it with somebody else one day. To make your mess your message, to make this test you're going through a testimony to go and help someone else, right? To serve our fellow humans, and whatever that may be, man. For those of y'all in the military, think about it. We should say service, service, serve, serve. Like bigger than you, bigger than us. It is, right? And no matter what corner of the world you're listening to me from, or what your job is, or what your occupation is, man, it don't matter, man. It don't matter if you're affiliated with an official organization or not. This isn't just for those in uniform and those who serve and those who may. Hey, look, everyone matters, right? We're all important. Now, ain't none of us special. We need to stop thinking we're so special sometimes, okay? Some people got their heads a little too big, right? I'm making a fun there. I'm making a joke, but we are all important. And I'm not at all any of my fellow veterans out there or fellow warriors. You know, hey, look, man, I've been a drill instructor in my time. I know how to be hard on people, right? I know how to demand, and I will. And I will demand and demonstrate by my own example the highest standards. I promise you I will. I might not be perfect at it, but I will try my damn show best. But look here, I'm not at all implying we baby anybody. I'm not at all implying we coddle anybody. That's enabling. That's not making anybody else better. That's just babying. We're not talking about that. That's not what the fuck I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is giving a fuck, caring about other humans, man, being there for each other. And if my language offends you, I'm sorry, not sorry. Shout out Demi Lovato, right? I'm trying to be real about this. I'm trying to be honest about this, man. We have got to take better care of each other. And it starts with us. It starts with you. It starts with everyone in their own little circle, in their own spheres of influence. To quote Epictetus again, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not. Who's in your circle of control? What's in your circle of control? Who's in your circle of influence? Really, you only have control over you. But instead of sitting here and bitching and complaining and blaming and saying this organization doesn't care and this system doesn't care and them, they, those, and all that fucking bullshit, that's weak. That's fucking weak. That's not owning your shit. Own your situation. Own where you're at. And take care of those around you. And take care of yourself, please. If you're one of those people out there hurting, that's okay, man. I said that to y'all. I read off the letter from General Neller, the white letter. Follow me on Facebook, Coach Cam Japan at gmail.com. But I put that on Facebook all the time. I try to reshare it because we got to reiterate, right? But that letter, in that letter, General Neller says, and he said this shit for almost in 2019 he said this when we had a spike in deaths by suicide in the Marine Corps. Like, it's okay not to be okay. There's nothing wrong with admitting, he says there's zero shame in admitting your struggles with shame, guilt, and trauma, right? We all have it. We all experience it. And he even says then we're all broken in our own way. And I'm paraphrasing right now, right? But we all broken in our own way. In our own way, we are all broken. And it's okay not to always be okay. But what's not okay is to ignore that shit and suppress that shit and try to self-medicate that shit to the point where you feel like making a permanent decision, an irreversible decision, is the best decision. And you might be in that muck. And you might think, hey, man, this is what I need to do. I need to hurt myself. I need to do a favor. I don't want to be a burden. No, man, no. Trust me, brother, sister, look, it's going to hurt everyone and some. And people you aren't even considering right now. When you make that action, when you take that action, you cannot take back. We need you. You matter. All of you. All of you matter, please. Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. It's just, no. Don't do it. I don't look at you as weak. I don't look at you as taking the easy way out. I don't look at you as a coward. No. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't ever think that. You're not that. But there's help out there. And it comes in many forms. And you got to try it out. You got to try it. You got to fucking just try it out. I'm not saying yoga's going to save your life and stop you from being, having suicidal ideations and stuff. I'm not saying that shit. But maybe that and talking to a therapist and taking your medication or trying it out. Trying it out, having an open mind, right? The same way that we learned how to fucking walk, ladies and gentlemen. The same way we learn how to do anything that we do. Drive a car, ride a bike. You didn't get that shit the first time. Man, my uncle showed me how to learn how to drive an 87 Honda Accord stick shift manual. Man, I'm sorry, Uncle David. I think I broke his fucking clutch years ago, bro. Like, it takes more than one time, man. First time you got to pull a bar, how many pull-ups you do, right? Like, all this shit, man. First time you throw a ball, the first time you talk to a significant other, the first time you talk to a member of the opposite sex or same sex or whomever you want to talk to in that way to try to get them to let them know you're romantically interested in them. It's tough. It's hard. You do it again. You try again, right? All of these things, whatever it is, your job, like you went to your job school or you learned your trade, you sucked at it. You were dumb, right? Man, I said I was a drone shooter earlier. I got some of they're Marines now, but recruits from before. They might listen to this. I don't know. Some of them are doing great things. A lot of them are doing great things in this world. Big impact. Some of them are here no longer with us, but they saw me when I was a brand new drone shooter. I sucked. And I was eventually, I'm not bragging here, but I was eventually a drill master, right? So what the fuck? But when I started out, man, I was slipping and sliding. I thought I was cool. I was going to wear leather shoes the first day. I was going to lead bikes. I was going to wear some polished shoes, but it didn't have a grip on the bottom. So I had to yell at the recruits when they was coming out the head. Try to get them counted down, saying they had to do their basic daily routine. If you've been to boot camp, but that's part of the day, right? And I'm yelling and being on, blah, 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 blah. Man, I slipped and slid all over that. They came out a little wet, so they dripped on the floor. And I slipped all over the place, looking like a dumbass, right? Just didn't know what I was doing, man. Nor did I know what I was doing in many other times in my life, right? But eventually we figure it the fuck out. We adapt, we adjust, we overcome, right? We be water, my friends, right? We be resilient. Right? Look up the definition of resilience, man. It's like being able to I think the shape expands or conforms, but it's like bounce back. It's like rebound, right? You're able to withstand. You're able to endure. We can keep right-clicking it for synonyms. I don't give a fuck what do what you want to do, however you want to define it, but don't give up. Don't quit. You matter. Don't take a situation that you're in right now and make a permanent consequence, right? Don't take a temporary situation to make it permanent, right? And it takes courage to be vulnerable. And I just went on a hard-ass tangent, and I hope I still got some listeners out there, and I hope somebody's being able to hear this. And again, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe this is for someone else, right? We did a case study yesterday of a very accomplished Marine, an E7. So for those of you who don't understand, E1 to E9, that's how you can go E9 on the illicit side. This man was E7 at 13 years. Most people do around 20-year career. If you're going to be a careerist, you can go up to 30 years. But to be a 13-year E7, you're doing pretty damn good. And this person was going to be looked at for promotion to E8. And on paper, this Marine was stellar. He was doing great things. He was in a leadership position. He was taking care of things. He was dependable. He was all these things. If you looked on paper, you couldn't see it. But he had some other things in the background, some family issues and stuff like that. And this Marine, he died by suicide, death by suicide. And we were all looking at it from different perspectives, and it was really awesome. Dr. Sandra Morrison, you are awesome. You are my hero. That's no joke. Thank you, ma'am. You give me hope in this whole world. But we did this case study with her and an awesome colonel here right now. Let's call her Colonel BC because I don't want to name names, but she's amazing. And these ladies give us this exercise where we had this case study, right? And then we looked at it from the friend's perspective, from the peer's perspective, from the family's perspective, from leaders' perspective. And I was happening to be at the table where leaders were, right? And anybody, look, I'm telling y'all, leader is defined by anyone who's influencing anything. If you're influencing people or a situation, I don't give a fuck what your rank is. I don't give a fuck what your billet is. I don't give a fuck what your title is. You are a leader. Are you doing good with that or are you doing bad with that? Hopefully you're doing good with both. You're impacting the people for the better in the situation. But there's my definition of leader, right? So it has nothing to do with rank and all that and pay and all that time and all that shit, right? Nah, fucking doesn't matter. Recruit on Firewatch is a leader, right? Doesn't matter. You're influencing things. So looking at it from the perspective of someone who was responsible for this person that was in their hierarchy, right? That was, let's say, in a supervisory position in this particular case. If you looked at those symptoms, or if you looked at the variables on this piece of paper, you would not have seen that shit coming. Like, you just wouldn't. But if I'd have got to know that Marine, if I'd have got to talk to that Marine, I would have understood that he had some things going on in his past. He had some things going on in his family before the military or before his service to his country. Service, look at me, I'm even saying it. Before his time in service. And there was just more that met the eye. And it seemed that he had made a habit of suppressing things over the years and, figuring things out. And that's a good thing. That's resilience. But at the same time, if we don't handle things properly, if we don't deal with our messes properly, if we don't endure them properly, if we don't cope with them properly or in a healthy manner, they can eventually, like a bad snowball, just add up over the time, right? Walls aren't made just by a wall alone. It takes bricks by bricks by bricks. If those little pebbles, I had a warrior yesterday say pebbles turn into boulders. But if those pebbles turn into boulders, those bricks turn into bad walls, right? It adds up, man. And it seemed that he didn't deal with his shit, right? Or his shit had such an effect on him, and I'm not blaming, I'm just trying to understand that it eventually dealt with him. And there were so many resources, man. If you're in the military, if you're in the armed forces, we have these things called MFLACs, military family life counselors. Like, go seek them out. You can meet them anywhere. They'll talk with you. They're accredited, and it's all off the books. You can go to medical, and that whole bullshit about, like, I've had people in the past say, oh, well, I couldn't stay in the military. I couldn't stay in the Marine Corps because I went to medical. Nah, man, you just saying that at the cookout to save face, bro. Ma'am, you can't stay in the Marine Corps because you ain't that good at being a Marine, and you're a Tier 17 Marine. And if you know what that means, you know what that means, and it's pretty funny. You're welcome. You're welcome for that little giggle you just had. But, like, people do it to save face, right? But what's sad is that person, like it or not, in that situation, they're a leader in that situation. Somebody else is listening, and they're buying that shit. And they're saying, and they're thinking that, oh, shit, now if I seek help, it's going to mess up my career. That's not true. The fact of the matter is, this dude sucked. He didn't even seek mental health help. He's just trying to use that as an excuse. Don't believe the hype, right? I'm telling you right now, you're not going to lose your job, right? There are a small percentage of people that, I don't even want to get all into it because I'm teaching like Oscar right now, operational stress control and readiness and resilience is what I like to refer to it as. But like let's just think security clearances. Most people lose their security clearance because of money. That's the main reason, because you make bad financial decisions, right? A lot of Americans make those, right? A lot of service members do too, right? That's the main reason. It's like a less than 1% of people that lose their clearances for seeking mental health help. Actually, the SF form says that in and of itself can actually be an advantage. It can be a plus, right? I might mess up the word, but it can be an advantage in getting a clearance, because you're showing that you're vulnerable and you're willing to address things before maybe it gets to extremes. Don't know. But counseling in and of itself and seeking help is not a cancellation on you. All right. So anybody who's saying that shit, shut the fuck up. That might have been how it was at one time, but that ain't the way it is now. So if you're hearing that, if you're seeing these people telling these lies and spreading this bullshit, tell them shut the fuck up. And if you can't say it, tell them I said it. Tell them Cam said it, because it's some bullshit and it's leading people astray, and it's ultimately leading to people taking their own lives and dying by suicide. They might not have meant for that to be the effect, but that was the ultimate effect, because that person might have sought help, but they were like, nah, I don't want to mess up my career. Nah, I don't want to mess up my security clearance. Nah, I don't want to mess up. No, it won't, man. It won't. It won't. Have faith, have confidence. And then for anybody on the other end who wants to help somebody else out, and you feel like they're faking, or you feel like they're making it up. First off, I hope anybody faking it gets chronic diarrhea. I'm just saying, hope you get chronic diarrhea, right? And I hope you're shitting your pants the rest of your life, because that's not something to play around with, okay? But the other part of it is, it's not on us as the individuals, as the influencers or the leaders in the situations to diagnose anyone or any of that. Trust the process, trust the systems. I know some great docs, some great doctors, some great mental health professionals out there that can see that shit coming a mile away, right? They can see that bullshit coming, okay? They know ways to test that shit out. You might have known somebody who, whatever, hey, look, stop with all that. Stop with all that. That's like saying, well, my aunt Linda, she smoked cigarettes till she was 90 and she drank beer every day, so that means beer and cigarettes are healthy. Come on, shut up, man. That's called a one-off. That's called an outlier, right? Okay? Like, so that doesn't justify you being a dumbass and still smoking and drinking and all that shit, okay? Teach their own. I'm not trying to judge Aunt Linda. She's a nice lady, okay? And good for her health and shit like that. But I'm just saying, don't use that outlier situation. You might have known somebody who you feel in the end was faking it. But do not let that stop you. And that question was asked yesterday to Dr. Rudd, and he said, I would not act flippantly. I would not, even if you get those intuitions and stuff like that they're trying to get out of stuff, hey, trust the process. Get them the care that they need. Treat them as if everything is totally legit, because you're not a doctor, nor am I. You're not accredited in any way, nor am I. But what you are is you're somebody who's to help somebody, right? Let them work out the process, because what you're doing by helping that person might give someone else the confidence to come to you who may have a legitimate case, right? Or maybe the person that came off and didn't seem like they had a legitimate case had a legitimate case. Because I'm be honest with you, whenever I talk to therapists and I sit in a room with them, I know how to put on my fucking face. I know how to fucking sit there and be everything's all together and I'm perfectly fine. But that ain't how I am all the time, right? But I'm trained. I won't say I'm trained because that means I'm putting responsibility on somebody else. But I know how to act. Right? We all know how to act. Call me fake if you want to, but everybody's an actor in this whole thing, right? I had a theater teacher at ODU, shout out ODU Monarchs, what's up, Big Blue, say that one time, that we're all actors. And I was like, what you talking about? Anybody? He's like, you haven't acted your whole life. You know how to act when you go to church. You know how to act when you go to work. You know how to act. We know how to act. We know how to put on the face and play the game and have bearing, right? We got that. So for some people, they don't know how to express themselves. So maybe to you, it might seem like, oh, this is fake. This is whatever. Look, man, do not take that shit. Don't Don't do that. Don't do that. Look, you get them the help they need, and you let the help work that shit out. You let the process work itself, okay? Because you don't want to mess up and be wrong, right? You say, nah, you fake and go back to work, stop being a bitch, and then you're wrong. You don't want that, because that's, in a way, potentially making you feel like you got blood on your hand. You don't want that. Nor do we want to have the other ones around who may be kind of shy about admitting or saying, I need help, now be scared to say that they need help. You know what I mean? So it's a ripple effect. So don't do that shit. If you think someone is faking or somebody's trying to get attention, first off, that's an outlier situation, but it's a very, very, what did he say? A very, very minor problem in the whole system of it. What's mainly the problem is people that need help don't seek help. That's the main problem. That's the main problem. And then afterwards, we see all these things, we do all these case studies, and we look at things, we go, oh, fuck, there was some things here, right? Let's stay proactive. As we like to say in our culture of service, let's stay left of bang. That's a great book. Sorry, I don't know the author off the top of my head, but I give you much credit. Book's called Left of Bang. It's a good book. But it's staying ahead of the problem, right? Instead of getting to the problem and then going, what the fuck could we have done better? Or what could have been done? Or like, it's too late now, man. We're not being proactive. We're not a force of readiness on this issue no more. Now we're a force of reactionist. I don't even know if that's a word, but we're react. You know, you don't want to do that as leadership. Leaders, period. Again, leadership is defined to me as anyone who's influencing a person or a situation. If you're doing that to whatever degree, you're a leader. So that's all the way up and down the chain of life. Okay, so be the leader that you needed, my people. Be the leader you needed. Maybe this message that I just spat off isn't for you particularly, right? We all have a yesterday. We're all broken. There's this thing called ACEs. What was it called? Let me tell you the acronym right quick, because I learned yesterday and I never heard of this. You know, I try to read on this stuff a lot and kind of, as my man Rob had told me, I love you, Rob Russell. He told me out in he told me out in Iwakuni that we need to be masters of our craft and try to read on in things and learn things. And, you know, when we was talking about doing Oscar and things like that. So I've been taking notes, brother. I've been trying to learn. But this thing, ACE, right? It's crazy because a lot of us have it, but it's ACEs are adverse childhood experiences. Adverse childhood experiences, and I'm not saying this so anybody can be a victim. Be a victor, right? But the adverse childhood experiences are linked to chronic health problems, mental illness, and substance abuse in adulthood. And these things, they range. You can look it up. But ACEs can include growing up with violence, abuse, growing up in a family with mental health problems, substance abuse problems, anything that made it toxic stress, right? Can change the brain development, affect how your body responds to stress and how you handle trauma the rest of your life, right? So I'm bringing that up because it just totally reiterates, a great song, Major Masio, if you ain't said it, 60 Days, you ain't said it all, but it reiterates the fact of what Joe Neller was saying in that letter, that everyone's broken in their own way, and we all have our own traumas, right? And if you don't, you will, right? But if you've made it this far enough to listen to the words I'm saying, you've had some kind of trauma. I'm not downplaying, upplaying anything. I'm just saying, these are adverse childhood experiences. And Dr. Gabor Mate talks a whole lot about this when it comes to addiction and depression and things. He's a great man. But before I change channels again, but you know, we have these things. We have these yesterdays, and everybody has them, right? Maybe this message for you today isn't for you today. Maybe it's for you to be like, oh, that's right, Cameron was talking about, hold up, this is that thing where I need to ask the question. I need to ask twice how somebody's doing. Right, Justin said an episode, I forgot what episode it was, but Justin, the great Justin, awesome, amazing human. I'm happy you're here, brother. I'm thankful. I thank God you're here every day. You're a light to this world, brother. But he had said that, he said, ask twice, but no more than 3 times, because at 3 times it gets weird. So point being there is, you're walking past somebody in the hallway at work, let's just say, right, school, wherever. You say, hey, man, how you doing? They say, fine, good, another day. Marines like to say, living a dream, or another day. Like, I don't know, it's, you know, all this shit, right? Can't make this shit up. They say something like that. But it's just etiquette. It's just, hey, how you doing? Fine, you good? All right, keep going. But if you know your people and you know those around you, or even if you don't know them, but you get that intuition, right? It's a valid language. It's a valid alert system inside of us as humans. Something's off with Bob, Lisa, Steve, Jim, Keisha, whoever the fuck it was, right? Something's off with this person. Ask twice if you got the time at that moment. Pull them aside. No. Maybe walk with them. No, for real. Like, how you doing? Maybe that's not a comfortable state for them. Maybe that's not a state where they, a place, in that place where they're walking, where they want to be able to be vulnerable and share how they're feeling, okay? So you go somewhere else, or you come to them later, but don't leave the end of that day without coming back to them. Or leader this base that I'm at say that yesterday. Like, by the end of the day, you got a choice to go talk to the individual or not. and try to go pull them aside. No matter what your rank is, no matter what their rank is, it doesn't matter. Pull them aside and say, no, really, how you doing? And sometimes people will open up, man, and maybe you can get them to help. Now, Justin did say ask twice, no more than 3 times, because if you're like, how you doing? Fine, good, okay. No, how you doing? Said, fine, everything's good. No, how you doing? Then it can get weird, you know what I'm saying? I'm making fun there, right? But try that. The rule of 2, no more than 3, right? But hey, if 3 is applicable and it's gonna save somebody's life potentially, I say do that shit. But you get the jest, you get the humor in that, right? Right? Okay. Got to take care of each other. As Dr. Jagger said, it's not going to be the system. It's not going to be one clinician. It's not going to be one doctor. It's not going to be one counselor. It's not going to be me right now with this fucking podcast just running my gums. It's not going to be one leader. It's not going to be one general. It's not going to be one colonel. It's not going to, you get what I'm saying? It's not going to be one mother and one father. It's not going to be one person that fixes this shit. We got to get out of that Messiah complex, right? That has its place in life, and I hope you have your faith where you have it restored. But like, that's not happening with this. We're not going to have that one person come and just show us all the way and everything's going to be fucking hunky-dory. That's not going to happen. But collectively, wherever we are at, man, we can go external and we can be there for each other and be there for our people. Okay? And if you're still listening, thank you. And I said I was going to read this quote off earlier, but I never even got to it. But Dr. Viktor Frankl, man, we talked about wanting to be happy, wanting to be successful. Okay? For happiness, he says, for success like happiness cannot be pursued. It must ensue. And it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as the byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. So a lot of times we're tempted to go internal and to have a pity party on ourselves. And, you know, you got to stop and pause for a second. You got to reflect, okay? But don't stay in that shit, man. Don't stay in that shit. There is a certain level of happiness and freedom in going external and helping others. And again, I don't know why fucked up shit happens, man. I don't know. But maybe if for no other reason, it gives you the valid testimony, a credible message to go take it and help somebody else. I don't know, man. I ain't got time for that. I can't control what's happened to anybody. But are we going to be a victim or a victor, right? We are harmed, but I feel like at the end of the day, we have a choice to be a victim or a victor, a survivor, a thriver, right? Victims of sexual assault and sexual violence and things of that nature. That's one thing that all of us can identify with. We've all been harmed in some way, right? And my heart goes out to anybody who's been harmed in those ways and many more ways, right? But like, you could be a victim or a victor, and you can then be a survivor of these things. And that's one thing I've definitely heard them talk about in sexual assault and sexual prevention and preventing these things, that like, you're a survivor. You're not a victim. You're a survivor. You survived it, right? And there's suicide survivors, right? And things of that nature. Like, be a survivor. Go thrive and go help somebody else. I promise you, it's something to try, man. It might not fix everything and won't make everything perfect, but think about things as if is this gonna make something worse? Nah, okay, I'll try it. You never know. You do that little thing, like what we called it one time. I was up here with a chaplain on here. We said, well, Eric, a wellness omelet, right? It might just take all of it, man. Throw everything at the bulkhead and see what sticks. But we have got to be better at taking care of each other. And with that, we got to be better at taking care of ourselves. And I'm just telling you, man, reach out. There's nothing wrong. It's okay not to be okay. Reach out. We all are broken in our own way. I said adverse childhood experiences and trauma and all these things, man. What affects you might not affect me. We're all unique, man. The quote General Neller again, man, lead like you want to be led. Take care of your people. Take care of yourself. I really do mean it when I say I got nothing but love for all of y'all. And I want to see everyone try to be the best self that they can be. Think about it, man. Is what you're doing making you a better version or a worse version of yourself? Walls aren't made just by a wall. It's made by little bricks. Boulders aren't, they're little pebbles, you know, so on and so forth, right? Little things add up. And you could be doing little things for other people to help their day be better. Have the courage to admit that maybe you need some help. It may save your life, and it could potentially help you learn how to save somebody else's. Like it or not, we're all we got, man. Much love to all of you, and I hope that this can help someone out there. And if you think it can, please share it with them. All right, this is not monetized. I ain't trying to be no celebrity. I ain't none of that shit, man. I'm just trying to throw everything at the bulkhead and see what sticks, man. I'm trying to meet people where they are. On demand land that we live in, man. Maybe this is what's best for you, the medium for you to talk on. All right, so I made this recording, and I'm just saying, try to find some healthy outlets. And if I can be of help to you, look, Coach Campbell on Facebook, right? I'm on Instagram, same name. Or you can email me, coachcamjapan@gmail.com. All right, man. Much love to all of y'all. And just remember, good or bad, 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 this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Much love to all of you. I'm going to get my shit set up soon, so I got the intro and exit music too. Much love. This too shall pass. Out.